Okay, this is the second video to validate the warehouse block is functioning. So we'll do the same method as before, disable a ASL input and store value and designate a ASL value 74 that we know should be on the ASL listing with the stow value unchanging of 1. To take a look at what 74 should bring us, 74 should have a quantity required of 1 and a readiness driver of one as well. The 1 and 1 beginning on hand quantity for 74. This may not be correct, so updated. So let's just begin the simulation. Everything will update and then take a look. 74, our on hand quantity beginning is 25, and we'll just take a quick look at that column 4 to make sure everything is 0, and it is. Okay, so 25 is the beginning on hand quantity, required quantity of 1. So we get 2 yeses here. This should be 25 minus 1, 24. This should be 24. There it is. And that'll update this to 24. There. So 24 here, 24 here. Reorder point, I believe, is 19. 20, no, reorder point is column 3, 74. Reorder point is 19, or excuse me, 20. Okay, so we 24 is greater than 20, so that's a yes, and it's a positive value, so that's a yes. So the requisition will flow on this track and be fulfilled. Okay, next, still have 2 yeses, so same all the way around. 24, this should be 23, and this should be 23. There. Okay, so we'll let a few more flow through. This would bring us to 22. This would bring us to 21. This would bring us to 20. And so now we get a no here. 20. Okay, so new on hand is greater than the ROP. That answer is no. It's equal to. We still have a positive value. So the requisition is going to flow here and then down here to represent being fulfilled the customer's requisition. But now we have a replenishment need to get, because we're at our reorder point. So a second replenishment requisition is going to be generated here and flow out this way to determine how much should be in that replenishment. So let's see if that happens. There goes the customers met, and then there goes the replenishment requisition. Okay, so let's examine and make sure that that's for the proper quantity. We know we're at the reorder point, and we know the on-hand quantity should be 20 down in here, and it is. So then the question becomes, what is the requisition objective for line number 74? And that is column 2, which is 25. So the difference between 25 and 20 is 5. We should see that here. 25 minus 20 is 5. And then we've got to match that 5 against any quantities that we might currently have out. Since this is the first time we've had to do this, this value should be 0. The quantity out should be 0, so So 5 minus 0 is 5. So that's our new quantity out. So our new quantity out down here should be 5 for line number 74. And that's column 4. And there it is, 5. Now the way this updates, because it updates 5 here, we're going to see 5 down here for the next requisition coming through. And there's our 5. Okay, so that was an example where we met the customer's demand, and but we still had a requisition, a replenishment need, and we assigned a priority 3 source fill to that. That'll be matched later as it goes up to wholesale. So let's see what the next one does. So we still have a new on hand lower than the reorder point, but we have a positive value on hand because I think it should be around 19. Okay. So we saw the customer's demand being met, and another replenishment item, which shouldn't be for much because we have the bulk of the quantity out. So it's probably for 1. So there it is. We already had 5 out. Our new on hand is 19. Reorder point, or requisition objective is 25. So 6. But because we already have 5 out, that new order is 1. We have 5 out, we order new, or have a new order for 1, so this value should be 6. And that'll make this value 6. So we'll let it run for a while to see when we get 2 no's down here. So we keep ordering replenishment. And we know this is going to take a little bit because the quantity required for each one of these is 1. So we essentially need 17 more requisitions to flow through before we start hitting a negative value and not being able to meet customer demand. Let's take a look where we are. New on hand quantity is 12. Okay. So we'll run this and speed it up a little bit. Okay, we should be getting close. That's 2. That's 1. So now we should get a 0. And we should get 2 no's down here. Hmm. Let's see here. Okay, quantity required was 1, on hand was 1, so 0. So that's good. So this next one will go to we didn't meet the customer's demand. Okay, so we saw this change. New on quantity is less than 0, and we saw that right there. On hand is 0. Quantity required is 1, so -1. So we have 2 no's down here, which means the requisition will flow here, and instead of generating a replenishment requisition by itself, the replenishment quantity combined with the original customer demand will go into one big requisition. Still a priority 1. And that'll flow along this top track into here for computation. So let's take a look at how that goes into the top track, and let's see how the computations worked. So we begin with the on-hand quantity. The on-hand quantity at this point probably pretty low. We ran pretty far negative. -1. We know that from up there. Reorder requisition objective, I believe, is 25. Okay, so we have a 26 difference. We have a significant amount out already, 25. So the difference between those two is still 1. So this quantity out should be 26. 74, 26. So that concludes this video and the second video on validating the warehouse function.